Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy's Conquest was released in November of 1995, almost exactly 1 year after Rare's seminal Donkey Kong Country, with its 3D rendered graphics, awesome soundtrack and gameplay. DKC 2 is regarded by many to be the best of the 3 Donkey Kong Country games released on the Super Nintendo, and some say there is an argument for best game on the system, with high praise given to gameplay and music. I recently played it for the first time using Nintendo's Switch Online SNES library. Things didn't go quite as expected, however, as we shall now see, so sit back and take heed, learn from my mistakes, and always play with a wired controller. That will become painfully clear later in the video. DKC 2 is split into several worlds or stages and starts out aboard the Gangplank Galleon. The nefarious Captain K. Rool has left Diddy a note saying that he has kidnapped Donkey Kong. Not long into the level, we find another playable character, Dixie, Diddy's girlfriend, contained within a DK barrel. When you only have a single character, destroying one of these DK barrels will release your partner, essentially giving you the ability to take an extra hit in a level, albeit with that character you are currently controlling now being unplayable, until you find another DK barrel, that is. When both characters are present, it is possible to swap between each. Diddy is more agile and has the ability to run faster, along with this cartwheel roll which you can use to murder most enemies. Dixie has a higher jump and can spin her hair around like a helicopter, which lets you glide through the air gracefully. Also, this hair flick attack, which does feel slower than Diddy's cartwheel, can also murder most enemies. Many enemies can be defeated just by jumping on top of them or rolling into them, but you can also pick up and throw barrels and small chests at them. It's also possible for each character to pick the other one up and throw them around both horizontally and vertically. This can be useful to reach hard to reach places. You collect bananas throughout each level, and if you collect 100 you'll get an extra life. There are also letters littered throughout a level that when you collect and spell out Kong will give you an extra life as well. And certain levels contain hidden bonus stages, with mini challenges where you collect tokens called Krem Coins. These are required to enter a secret stage and the game's true final world, Kremling's Lost World. Spoiler alert, my experience with the game did not make me want to go and find more Krem Coins to locate said Lost World, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. You also come across various helpful animal buddies that will assist you in different ways, normally through a short section of a level, but sometimes through an entire level as well. As I said earlier, the opening world is set aboard a pirate ship, which sees you navigate wrecked decks, flooded holds, and hoisted sails of the boat. I find this one level in particular to be quite neat, as the sun sets as you make your way through it. At the end of each world stage you take on a boss. In this case it's an oversized vulture, wearing a pirate hat called Crow. Makes sense. So far, the game has been mostly what I was expecting, and I chalked up any deaths as my unfamiliarity with the game. That and me making dumb decisions. The second world is the fiery hellscape that is the Crocodile Cauldron. Again, mostly fine here, though the introduction of this spider friend left me a little confused. It wouldn't be until much later in the game that I understood what exactly it did. People in the comments, let me know if each of the animals get an explanation about how they control in the game's manual. It definitely would help to know beforehand. It was in this world that I started to discover some, let's say, odd things beginning to happen with the way the game controlled. Okay. Oh, what the fuck? It wouldn't control, dude. Why? No! Why did you fall off the edge? But as I was still figuring things out in the game, I assumed it was just down to my own ineptitude. Still, I persevered and finally took out Cleaver, this animated sword thing. This game is weird. Oh, we did it. Oh my god. On to Krem Key, where we meet some spooky enemies, as well as get some spooky missing inputs. It's probably best to do... It didn't recognize the input, alright. But there is some nice variety to this stage. An underwater area where an anglerfish lights your way, crocodile-infested swamp where you need to navigate reeds and crockhead platforms, and a level where you bounce around as your snake pal. with a wonky bee that can go fuck off. The boss fight is not that interesting here though, in my opinion, and goes on a little too long. Sorry, Cudgel, you just weren't for me. It's gotta be the last one, right? Oh, annoying as hell, man. Let's get crazy in Crazy Kremland next. Perhaps I'm alone here, but I found the minecart, or in this case roller coaster levels here to be quite fun. In Target Terror, you need to hit barrels with green checkmarks to proceed. Also, Rickety Race, where you race against 9 Clanks? Is that their name? Yes, Clanks. Okay. Getting first place gets you a DK coin. Oh, I'm first. An odd mix of Beehive and Funfair levels in this place. Really started to feel the input delay and missed inputs when jumping off of the sticky walls here of this Hive level. What was going on, I wondered? I started to think that maybe DKC 2 fans had developed some kind of Stockholm Syndrome, and after the trauma of finally beating the game, had to tell everyone else it was actually great. Dixie has this cute animation here though. I mean, that's something, right? I did enjoy this Rhino section, mostly. Don't understand this. And how was I supposed to know that Rhino-kun was powerless against the bee here? Things don't even fucking... What? Okay. Well, how would I know? Game, how would I know? How would I know? The final boss is, if you haven't already guessed, a giant bee called King Zing. You'd think it might actually be Queen, but whatever. You take the form of a parrot and flitter around the level, avoiding the king as you attempt to gob your nuts.
Phrasing?
At its behind. See what I did there? Eventually, when you land a hit, he turns red and fires his stingers at you. Keep on going, and the king shrinks down, surrounded by easier-to-kill minions. A few more strikes, and the fight is over. Actually, this is one of the more fun boss fights I found, though it is difficult to land a direct hit on that ass. Gloomy Gulch is next, the opening level of which has some annoying barrel enemies that can bully you off of a cliff if you are not careful. Or just blow up in your face. Oh no! Disappearing ghost ropes hang about the level that pop in and out of existence, but overall I dug the vibe of this place. It has cool music and atmo. Missing inputs were still plaguing me, however. What was going on? Was I playing the right game? My frustration was definitely starting to show by this point. No, why would you not jump again? Oh. Aim, come on, give me a break. Jump when I ask you to jump. It's simple. I press the jump button, you jump. It's very, very easy. I think it was around here that any enjoyment I was getting from the game had severely diminished, and I was no longer that interested in collecting golden letters or tokens. Only coins. Coins that I could use at save points. Coins that would let me save so I wouldn't have to repeat so many levels. Yes, I'm aware I could use the Switch Online save function, but come on, I wasn't about to do that. I wanted to play the game like I was back in 1995. Another fun minecart section here though. I don't know if I'm in the minority for liking those levels, but it was at least fun for me. At certain points in the level, a ghostly croc appears and a countdown timer begins. You need to hit the green plus barrels to extend the time, because if it reaches 0, you'll take a hit. There was also a pretty cool level where the wind can help or hinder you, much like inputs not registering. I guess not. Until then, until it fucks me up, I getcha. We revisit beehives again for some reason, and then a misty forest where fuck these green guys with their multiple sword swings. It was here I finally realised how the spider controlled, and that you could create platforms with his web, which is quite cool. The final boss of this level should be familiar to everyone, as it is the Ghost of Crow from the first world, now called Creepy Crow, confirming that we indeed have been killing all of these enemies as we've been going along, being as it were on some kind of banana-addled murder rampage. With old Creepy dealt with, and Crow now being double dead, we arrive at K. Rool's Peep. Set atop a mountain, there are 2 ice stages here, and 2 mine stages, one of which has a cooler wind gimmick than earlier levels, with the rest being in the castle. This auto-scrolling level can fuck off though, as can having to do this for the first time. Bees. Holy shit. How am I doing this? Also the closeness of these 2 cannonballs. Oh! Why did it... And this could fuck off as well, whatever happened here. It went... I pressed up! We then reach Toxic Tower, A level I've heard that is one of the, if not the hardest level in the game. It is, to be frank, unforgiving. If you screw up, well, then you can find yourself with no path forward. It is very much a "you gonna learn today" level. Add to this that I didn't know how to properly use Snake-chan's Mega Jump ability, and you can probably guess how many attempts were made at this level. A lot. It was a lot. And the snake portion of this level isn't even the end of it. You then take on the form of Parrot Gun, and then Mr. Spider, before finally getting to the sweet, sweet end of this nightmare. Save. Immediately save after this level. Finally, we reach the last level of the game. Don't mention the Lost World, just don't. The Flying Croc. Before we can take on Captain K. Rool, however, we have a spiky hell with these blue fuckers, and then a race with an evil bird for some reason. You'll have to win this race in order to proceed, and yes, losing the race means losing a life. Be prepared to take several attempts at this to learn the layout of the course. Then, finally, we can now face down K. Rool. We arrive to find him torturing Donkey Kong, who is dangling by a rope, while K. Rool smacks him around and shoots him with a blunder cannon? This fight was bullshit, but I would argue it is acceptable bullshit for a final boss. It took me about 40 to 45 minutes to beat him, and it has some fun phases to it. At first I was confused as to how you actually hurt him. You need to throw the cannonballs that appear into his gun when he does his big suck.
Praising! Boom! Huh? Hey, what's happening? Are you okay?
Just don't get caught out when the ball is fired when the gun explodes. Also, watch out when K. Rool zips across the screen, propelled by a jet of flames from his weapon. At a couple of points during the fight, K. Rool collapses, DK drops down, and a DK barrel appears, so if you have taken a hit before, now's your chance to replenish your monkey stocks. Eventually, spiked balls start appearing, as do double shots which spin in the air, requiring you to time your jumps. And then these coloured skull things. These don't count as a hit per se, you won't lose one of your Kongs. Instead they have like an effect on your character. Blue freezes you in place for a short period of time, red slows you right down, and purple reverses the directions of your controller. Oh, and he turns invisible sometimes. But after some time you will get the pattern down, and Captain K. Rool is toast. I don't know. Where's he gonna appear? Screw you. Please be the last time I have to do this. You fuck! You waited to shoot that! DK is freed, knocks the Pirate Croc out of the airship and into the drink, and... Oh my. I think he's dead, guys. So thus ended my DKC 2 journey, and all I really felt was relief. Relief that I wouldn't have to go back and play the game again. This couldn't be the game I'd heard about, right? The game that people said had tight controls, the best of the DKC games on the Super Nintendo. While playing this, I was constantly dipping into my memories of playing the first DKC, and I didn't remember the game playing so inconsistently. Now, at a certain point during my playthrough, I did experience the Joy-Cons of my Switch just suddenly disconnecting. I am aware some games that have arrived on the Switch's online libraries have been borked. Emulation software, even Nintendo's own, comes with certain caveats. Some provisos, if you will, some quid pro quos. But I had played Super Metroid, Double Dragon 2, and a few other games on there, and they had not felt this, well, shit. Even so, I had to check something out, so I purchased a wired controller for the Switch. I had reservations about going back and playing some more of this game, but I needed to find out, would this improve things? And you know what I discovered? With a wired controller, this game plays so much better. There's still some noticeable input delay, I will say, but this is the way to play DKC 2 on the Switch's online SNES library, in my opinion. It is unfortunate that my initial playthrough was so soured, to the point that a week after initially completing the game, I don't feel like going back to play more DKC 2 and complete the Lost World. And I don't know that I ever will. I didn't really feel like going back and testing with a wired controller, in all honesty, but I felt compelled to, given that the game is so highly praised. It felt right to give it the benefit of the doubt. Luckily, there are plenty of other Donkey Kong games that I haven't played, and at least now I have the power of a wired controller to hopefully prevent a lot of input woes that may appear. The takeaway here is, don't be like old El President J, playing with Joy-Con garbage. Be like the new improved El President J with a wired controller. Or better yet, buy a SNES and a copy of DKC 2, and play on OG hardware. With all that said, take care everyone, stay safe, be excellent to yourselves and one another, I will see you next time, with something less frustrating, I hope. Ugh. Consider giving this video a like. I'm pretty sure this experience took hours off my life expectancy.